First legal setback for President Trump's executive orders.
This is about ensuring the citizenship, a cornerstone of our national identity. It is protected, respected, and aligned with the principles upon which this country was built.
It is as American as apple pie, that if you're born in America, you're an American.
A federal judge has blocked his executive order ending birthright citizenship. It comes as Marines leave for the southern border. Plus, new wildfires burn at high speeds near Los Angeles. The Hughes fire has already destroyed more than 10,000 acres as firefighters battle flames and winds gusting up to 80 miles per hour. The change coming that could add to the danger. And
دمروا الناس، دمروا مستقبلنا ومستقبل الشباب. يعني أنا بطلع في الشباب هذول وين بدهم يروحوا؟ فيش مستقبل، لا تعليم ولا صحة، وإيش؟ فيش حياة، فيش حياة.
Going back home with a ceasefire in place, people are starting to make their way back into Gaza amid the rubble and ruins. Tonight, we go with them as they see what, if anything, is left. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Tonight, President Trump is once again picking up his pen, signing 5 more executive orders, declassifying the files related to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., promoting cryptocurrency, establishing an advisory council on science and technology, removing barriers to leadership in artificial intelligence, and recognizing the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. Meanwhile, a federal judge dealt the first blow to President Trump's immigration crackdown. The judge in Seattle temporarily blocked the president's order ending birthright citizenship, calling it, quote, blatantly unconstitutional. Trump signed the order hours after being sworn in, and he's now vowing to appeal. This comes amid the confirmation battle over his controversial pick to run the Defense Department, former Fox host Pete Hegseth. Some key Republicans are speaking out tonight about his confirmation vote. And as 1,500 troops prepare to deploy to the border, new concerns are being raised about whether the president is overstepping his powers. We'll talk with an expert about what the National Emergencies Act covers and why President Trump may be out of bounds. But first, here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, with a look at today's ruling on birthright citizenship.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship.
Tonight, a federal judge temporarily blocking President Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Trump signing the order just hours after he was sworn in.
Birthright. That's a big one.
Birthright citizenship is protected by the 14th Amendment. Now 22 states and 2 cities filing suit to block Trump's order from going into effect. Today, Seattle Judge John Kuhnauer saying it boggles my mind that any lawyer would consider the order constitutional.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
That judge appointed by President Ronald Reagan. While over at the Capitol, stinging words from 2 Republican senators for Trump's controversial Pentagon pick, former Fox News host and veteran Pete Hegseth. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine announcing they will vote against his confirmation, citing concerns about his management experience and the message he sends to women. Murkowski writing, I believe that character is the defining trait required of the Secretary of Defense and must be prioritized without compromise, pointing to the allegations against Hegseth of excessive drinking and sexual misconduct. Tonight, sources tell ABC News Hegseth told another senator, Democrat Elizabeth Warren, that he paid the woman who accused him of sexual assault in 2017 a $50,000 settlement. He has denied the assault allegations, claiming it was consensual. Tonight, Senator Murkowski saying while the allegations of sexual assault and excessive drinking do nothing to quiet my concerns, the past behaviors Mr. Hegseth has admitted to, including infidelity on multiple occasions, demonstrate a lack of judgment that is unbecoming of someone who would lead our armed forces. Senator Collins citing another matter, Hegseth's statement last year that women should not serve in combat roles.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles.
But at his confirmation hearing, he said this.
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high.
Collins tonight saying, I am not convinced that his position on women serving in combat roles has changed. Despite the pushback, Hegseth is still expected to be confirmed when the Senate votes tomorrow.
Are you worried about his confirmation in your reaction?
No, and no surprises there. It's too bad. You know, it's the way it is. Too bad.
The president tonight also signing an executive order to declassify the files related to 3 assassinations that gripped the nation. The murder of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, the fatal shooting of his brother, Senator Robert Kennedy, in Los Angeles just a few years later, and the killing of Dr. Martin Luther King at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. Trump declaring their families and the American people deserve transparency and truth. Robert Kennedy Jr., Trump's nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services, has long called for the release of the government files into his father and his uncle's assassinations.
And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
The Director of National Intelligence will now have a few weeks to prepare a plan for the release of the records.
Mary Bruce joins us now from the White House. Mary, the president also spoke to business leaders gathered at the World Economic Forum in Davos today. What did he have to say?
Well, he did tell them that he's demanding that the Federal Reserve lower interest rates. That's raising questions about just how independent he wants the Fed to be. He also said he's going to be demanding that Saudi Arabia lower oil costs. Of course, Linsey, the Saudi crown prince, was the first foreign leader that Trump talked with after his swearing in earlier this week. And the Dow today is responding, jumping 400 points, Linsey.
All right, Mary Bruce from the White House for us. Thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you.
President Trump's declaration of a national emergency at the southern border has also come under fire. For more on that, we're joined by Elizabeth Goitein, the senior director of the Brennan Center's Liberty and National Security Program. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you briefly explain for our viewers what President Trump is able to do by declaring an emergency versus going through Congress or other options?
When the president declares a national emergency, that declaration unlocks powers that are contained in about 150 different provisions of law that are scattered all across the U.S. Code. In this case, he invoked 2 provisions. One that allows the Secretary of Defense to move money within the department, and the Secretary is going to use this to allocate more funds to constructing the border wall. The second power that Trump invoked is one that authorizes the Secretary of Defense to call up reservists, including National Guard forces, in a national emergency. And this will be used to make more military personnel available to support the Department of Homeland Security at the southern border. These are exactly the same 2 provisions that he invoked in 2019 when he declared a national emergency on the southern border. So it's sort of like Groundhog Day.
You mentioned in Time today that there's no real definition of a national emergency in the law allowing them. How can courts argue against the declaration based on that?
Yeah, it's tricky, unfortunately. If Congress had put a definition in there, that would be a lot more helpful. The word emergency has a definition in the dictionary. It has to be a sudden and unexpected crisis that requires immediate action. And that's very relevant to the role that emergency powers play in our constitutional system. They are designed to give the president more flexibility in these sudden, unexpected situations that are moving too quickly for Congress to act. That's clearly not unlawful immigration, which has been a problem for a long time. It's something that Congress can and should address. But what courts can do is they can look to see whether the specific provisions the president has invoked actually authorize the actions that he's trying to take. And in this case, when Trump invoked the military construction provision that allows him to move money around to build the border wall, some courts held that that was unlawful, that violated or that it didn't comply with the military construction emergency power that he was invoking. That case made its way up to the Supreme Court, but it was mooted when President Biden took office and terminated that declaration. So we're going to see the exact same legal battle playing out all over again.
What can be done at this point to stop presidents from relying on these national emergency powers in the future?
Well, Congress needs to reform the National Emergencies Act, and this is something that lawmakers have actually been trying to do for several years now. The main reform is essentially to require emergency declarations to terminate after 30 days unless Congress votes to approve them. So this is just a very common sense, good government measure that's very popular. There's bipartisan support for this, and we need to make it happen, and we need to do it soon. It's not just President Trump we need to be worried about. No president should have unchecked access to these kinds of potent powers without sufficient safeguards in place.
Elizabeth Goitein, we thank you so much for your time. The critical fire danger rages on in Southern California with 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts fueling multiple fires. Flames broke out along the 405 freeway near the Getty Center Museum and the Bel Air neighborhood. Meanwhile, a Hughes fire is burning north of Los Angeles, creeping ever closer to the Eaton fire. We'll have the forecast as winds are set to die down, but we lead off with our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, once again in California.
Tonight, Southern California is again a powder keg, howling Santa Ana winds and bone-dry conditions, fueling fires big and small.
You can see they're making retardant drops already.
West of L.A. and Ventura County, dirt, flying smoke, blasting firefighters working furiously, stopping forward progress of the Laguna fire, but not before a Cal State campus was forced to evacuate. And overnight, the Sepulveda fire breaking out along the 405 freeway near the Getty Center Museum, burning 40 acres before firefighters got a handle on it.
They managed to knock this down very, very quickly. It is not windy right now.
Meanwhile, just north of Los Angeles, firefighters still battling the now 15-square-mile Hughes fire. An all-out aerial assault through the night, precision drops saving the town of Castaic.
I mean, you can see the air asset right now, that helicopter dropping. Fire so close to the ground right behind you. I mean, it was barely 30 feet off the deck just now.
We have some of the best pilots in the world out here in LA County, LA City.
Thankfully, no homes were lost, but for families forced to flee, nerves are frayed tonight.
Sad when we were leaving, especially seeing what happened with Palisades and all that.
Such a tense time for so many for different reasons. ABC's Matt Gutman joins us now. Matt, give us a sense of how the wind is there at the moment.
It's still gusty here, Lindsay, and all of Southern California, because of that extremely low humidity, just a couple of % humidity, these gusty winds, this whole area has been a tinderbox today. There have been 10 new fire starts just today, most of them small, not progressing, firefighters able to knock them down, but it's been a fight all day, and we're here at the Sepulveda fire, which erupted overnight. You can still see firefighters, that one with a drone, surveying this fire, trying to make sure that there are no additional hot spots, because these red flag warnings are set to persist into tomorrow morning with winds gusting locally at up to 80 miles an hour, Lindsay. So the threat is not over.
Matt Gutman, our thanks to you. Lee Goldberg from our New York partner station WABC is tracking all those winds. And also, Lee, we got to ask, any relief from this brutal cold anytime soon?
I hope so, because my eyes are watering and the glasses are fogging up. So yes, the cold is definitely easing. Let's start with the fire forecast out west. There's some encouraging news over the weekend, but at least in the short term, we still have some gusty winds and low humidity, so the red flag warning will go into the day on Friday. But what a good pattern change coming up later Friday as winds turn onshore. Now we have low pressure over Southern California, so an area of rain, mountain snows, higher humidity. It could actually linger into a part of Monday. The only concern will be any isolated downpours that could cause some flash flooding over the burn scars. Now, to the east, sound the retreat. The Arctic area is definitely easing. There are still cold weather alerts, Louisiana, Florida, into the Carolinas. Those will go through tomorrow morning, wind chills in the teens and 20s, and then you go all the way up to the north, and there are sub-zero wind chills in the Midwest. But that starts to ease over the weekend. I mean, temperatures really take off. After getting snow in Houston, we're in the 60s over the weekend. Atlanta gets into the 50s, and 40s here in the Northeast will go a long way to curing some of that cabin fever. And as we go into February, the pattern actually looks above normal as well. Lindsay?
All right, we can hopefully hold out until then. Lee Goldberg, our thanks to you. Now to an ABC News exclusive. A Massachusetts man breached Capitol security and took a full tour of the Capitol, all while carrying a gun. Authorities say he set off a magnetometer, but an officer who patted him down didn't find the gun. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
Capitol Police tonight acknowledging a stunning security failure that occurred just a day after President Trump was sworn in. A failure department officials say can never happen again. ABC News first learning that a 27-year-old Massachusetts man, who authorities had been searching for out of concerns he was having suicidal thoughts, allegedly made his way through security at the Capitol and took a full tour, all while armed with a 9mm handgun.
We are in the middle of a highly dangerous threat environment. Law enforcement across the country, including the Capitol Police, need to take every threat seriously and their officers need to remain extra vigilant.
According to Capitol Police, the breach occurred sometime between 1 and 2 p.m. Tuesday afternoon, amid confirmation hearings with senators, House members, and the public, all unaware that they were in a potentially dangerous situation. Authorities say the man set off magnetometers at the Capitol Visitor Center and was then subjected to additional screening by a Capitol Police officer who failed to find the firearm, which was discovered as the man left the Library of Congress following his tour. That officer has been suspended pending a full review of the incident. We're told that Capitol Police officers will now undergo mandatory refresher training on security screenings.
Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, what's the reaction like on Capitol Hill today?
Well, Lindsay, Capitol Police say there's no indication the man was there to harm members of Congress, but my law enforcement sources were shocked that a man was able to walk through the Capitol with a fully loaded gun. Now, we had one of the key members of a House Congressional Committee saying that members were, quote, severely disappointed, Lindsay.
As we could imagine. All right, Pierre Thomas, our thanks to you.
Pleasure.
Next tonight, a terrifying shootout in Texas that left residents ducking for cover. 7 police officers shot while they responded to a call for help. Maria Villarreal is in San Antonio with this story.
Tonight, a Navy veteran who opened fire on multiple police officers is dead after a terrifying shootout at a San Antonio apartment complex. One after the other, 7 arriving officers struck by bullets late Wednesday while responding to an attempted suicide call by a concerned family member.
First officer arrived to that call. He wound up being shot. Another officer who arriving after him or about the same time as him was also shot. Third officer arriving on the scene, shot as well.
Authorities say 46-year-old Brandon Poulos opened fire on police through an apartment window where he barricaded himself during an hours-long standoff. Residents ducking for cover.
I actually got on the floor and then I went in my bathtub. I went and sat in my bathtub. I'm like, yeah, this is probably the safest spot right now.
Those officers now recovering from non-life-threatening injuries.
Lindsay, it's still unclear whether the suspect shot himself or if he was killed by police, but we do know he was a 10-year veteran of the Navy, and he was arrested and released just this past weekend. Lindsay?
Maria, thank you. A teenager has been sentenced to 52 years in prison for a fatal stabbing spree at a children's Taylor Swift-themed event in the UK. 18-year-old Axel Ruda-Cabana pleaded guilty to all 16 charges earlier this week, which included 3 counts of murder. 3 girls died in the attack last year where children were attending a dance class event. They were ages 6, 7, and 9. Several others were injured. Tonight, new details in the deadly high school shooting in Nashville. Investigators say the school's gun detection system, which was supposed to scan for guns and weapons, failed to alert school officials before the shooting. Police say 17-year-old Solomon Henderson fired 10 shots within seconds of entering the cafeteria. 1 student was killed, another wounded before the shooter, took his own life. We've also learned from police the shooter posted on social media from inside a school bathroom before opening fire. Authorities say evidence shows Henderson was significantly influenced by online material. A Coast Guard cutter is trying to free a cargo ship that has been trapped in ice within Lake Erie. The freighter has been stuck off the Buffalo shoreline for more than 24 hours, where the temperature has ranged from below 0 to 15 degrees, minus 15 degrees. The Coast Guard says that there are no concerns for crew safety and the ship has not been damaged. As we continue to look at President Trump's first days in office, let's turn to his executive orders ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, programs in all federal offices. For that, we're joined by Everett Kelly. He's the president of the union representing federal government workers. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. President Trump said that he's disbanding DEI programs to, quote, forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. What are the current protocols for hiring, and do you see those changing under this executive order?
Well, to be honest, I think that merit-based system requires fairness, ensuring opportunity regardless of anyone's background. And I think that the federal government has done an outstanding job at getting at that. I think that this is a lot of smoke screen. DEI is not anything like what is trying to be portrayed. It is. It's not even making sense what this administration is doing as it relates to DEI.
What are some of the main functions of DEI programs, and who's most likely to be impacted by their closing?
Well, you know, as a veteran myself, I recognize that, you know, when you look at the federal workforce, 2.2 million make up that workforce. Of that 2.2 million, that's 642,000 veterans, you know, that could be affected by this initiative. Because DEI actually is designed to make sure that people that, I'm just going to use this for an example, that might have a disability, but that organization, the DEI organization, would ensure that that veteran, if you will, that was wounded, you know, in combat, came to work for the federal government, would be able to work in that job and do the full elements of that job with just a few accommodations. So that's what this is all about. So there will be a lot of veterans impacted in this initiative.
And for people working in DEI offices across the federal government, what's happening right now? They're not coming to work?
Well, the initiative that the president has issued says that, you know, you're on administrative leave, you're going to get paid, you know, just stay at home till we can figure out what to do.
Yesterday, federal workers received a letter ordering them to report any remaining DEI-related programs in their offices. What response are you hearing from union members?
Well, you know, union members are patriotic employees, okay? But what they won't do is because what this administration is asking them to do is begin to snitch on one another. But, you know, they won't do that. They'll be honest if you ask them a question, but they're not going to go out and say, hey, you know, I know this is what's going on, this is what's going on. That's not going to happen, you know, because I don't think that, you know, there's anything being hidden from the administration or none of that, you know, but union members are very upset. Number one, they are very concerned about which direction this administration is going. But one thing I know is that they will fulfill their responsibility and do their job every single day.
American Federation of Government Employees President Everett Kelly, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
Now to a terrifying flight out of Boston Monday night. The cabin of a Cathay Pacific plane bound for Hong Kong filled with smoke just minutes into the 16-hour flight. The pilots immediately turned back to Logan Airport, but were in the air for nearly an hour before they could land safely. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, that urgent mid-air mayday as smoke fills the cockpit and cabin of a Cathay Pacific Airlines plane.
Mayday, 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 Cathay 811.
This passenger video taken just minutes after takeoff from Boston's Logan International Monday, showing reading lights shining through the thick haze as it quickly filled the packed Hong Kong-bound aircraft.
Initially, I thought, I was like, maybe it's just the altitude, air difference. And then I was like, I can't breathe.
The pilots forced to turn the Airbus A350 around in the air for nearly an hour.
Cathay 811 will need to dump fuel for return into Boston Airport.
Dumping fuel to lighten the plane, landing safely back in Boston. The airline saying none of the 302 people on board were hurt.
Our thanks to Ariel. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. An eye-opening study on ADHD, how people with the disorder are dying significantly earlier than their peers. But next, with the ceasefire in the Middle East, some Palestinian families in Gaza finally return to what once was called home.
هذا بيتنا 4 طوابق فالحمد لله نزل كله في الأرض. تعرف إيش السبب؟
For the record, your name is Xavier Collins.
Yes.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw Cal Bradford alive?
Agent Collins, have a seat. I walked the president to his room at 2204.
When did you discover the body?
At 801, that's when I found him lying next to his bed.
Did you kill him?
No.
Is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
Is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're going to make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Your inner circle's been compromised. Either you can't see that or you don't want to.
Who you think they
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
Who you think they talk about us?
Stand by for proof of death.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America, Brave New World. Get tickets now. Friday night, the 2020 true crime.
Sex, money, and murder, it has it all.
They were living the high life, but it was all about to come crashing down.
It was a house of cards that was crumbling fast.
Everybody thought car bombing has to be a mob hit.
Now, Friday night.
We're going to reenact the bombing to see how it could have been done.
2, 1.
Inside a murder mystery as it unravels. 2020, all new Friday night on ABC.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home.
Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew, new episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
I only have one rule. Stay out of the basement. What do you got in the basement? I can't talk about it quite yet.
There's something down there that will destroy the world.
We're talking about a monster, a real monster.
You are in danger. Kids are disappearing.
Welcome back, everyone. The Israel-Hamas ceasefire is now in its 5th day, and that has enabled some Palestinian families in Gaza to return to their homes. But after 15 months of war, much of the Gaza Strip has been reduced to rubble, where in many cases the bodies of dead family members still remain. Our Tom Sufi Burridge reports from the region on the difficult negotiations still ahead so that more Palestinian families can return to Gaza and more hostages can return to their loved ones.
Gaza has been turned into a wasteland of ruins and rubble. From this drone's eye view of northern Gaza, no building is untouched, and everywhere you look across entire neighborhoods, Israel's war against Hamas has left apocalyptic destruction. But with a ceasefire in place, people in Gaza are venturing back into their neighborhoods again. The Ghali family are on the move. After leaving the tents they've lived in for months, taking the few possessions they still have and heading back through shattered streets. Ayad Abu Ghali climbing through the rubble to reach what was his family home. All around, evidence of the destructive force of Israeli missiles and bombs.
هذا بيتنا 4 طوابق فالحمد لله نزل كله في الأرض. تعرف إيش السبب؟ ما في مقاومة هنا ولا في حاجة والناس عاديين. ما بتعرف سبب إنه ليش ينقصف البيت. دمروا الناس، دمروا مستقبلنا ومستقبل الشباب. يعني أنا بطلع في الشباب هذول وينهم يروحوا؟ فيش مستقبل، لا تعليم ولا صحة، وإيش؟ فيش حياة، فيش حياة.
Many homes that are still standing are wrecked inside. And as people wonder how they will ever rebuild, there's also fear that war will soon return. The deal between Hamas and Israel that halted the fighting and saw 3 Israeli hostages freed Sunday and hugging their families again is only based initially on a 6-week ceasefire. On Inauguration Day, President Trump said he's not confident a second phase of the deal can be reached to prolong the truce.
I'm not confident. That's not our words, their word, but I'm not confident.
And free all remaining hostages, those still living and those who are dead. Tal Haimi was killed in the October 7 massacre, but his body was taken into Gaza by Hamas.
We had a funeral service, but we buried an empty coffin.
His cousin, Udi Goren, says if Israel prioritizes all of the hostages, it will further weaken Hamas.
It is in our interest to bring back the hostages, because that's more valuable to Hamas than anything else. And once we have the hostages back home, then we need to keep doing what we're actually doing right now, collaborating with the mediators in creating a different future for Gaza where Hamas is not a part of it.
But as soon as the ceasefire kicked in Gaza, Hamas gunmen were parading through the streets. And then using the hostage handover to show they were back in charge. With no sign Hamas is willing to capitulate, a former Israeli general who's close to the Israeli government says it's unlikely the 6-week ceasefire will be prolonged.
When Israel talks about a second deal, it's not only about releasing hostages, it's also about Hamas stopping its control over Gaza and leaving Gaza.
After 15 months of war, you haven't achieved that. Isn't there a risk that the war will just go on and on and on?
Well, I think that we can definitely militarily destroy Hamas.
But if you don't prolong the ceasefire, that there will still be hostages in Gaza.
Yeah, and we'll have to pressure and continue degrading Hamas capabilities to an extent where they will understand that it's game over.
But while teams in Gaza search the rubble for more bodies, there is no clear sense of who or what could rule the Strip if Hamas were gone. The war has already killed 47,000 people, says Gaza's health ministry run by Hamas. Just look at Gaza before the war and how devastated it is now. Aid agencies warn thousands more dead haven't yet been counted or found. Mahmoud says the bodies of his wife and all 5 of his young children are still lying under his home, which was bombed.
حاولت إنه أنا أطلعهم وإنه أنا أعمل وجاني الدفاع المدني حاول فإنه من صعوبة الدمار إنه لا يوجد عندنا.
He says he just wants to be able to bury his entire family.
أنا بتمنى إنه أقدر أستطيع إن أنا أطلعهم وأعملهم من قبل.
Our thanks to Tom Sophie Burridge for that. Still much more to get to. Coming up, scary moments on board a plane when it starts to fill up with smoke, how the pilots reacted. But next, the Academy Award nominations are out. Find out who's making history and who failed to make the cut.
Your inner circle's been compromised. Either you can't see that or you don't want to.
Who you think they talk about?
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
Who you think they talk about? Talk about us.
Stand by for proof of death.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America, Brave New World. Get tickets now. The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
We're in an artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in. From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines,
the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal. Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
For the record, your name is Xavier Collins.
Yes.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw Cal Bradford alive?
Agent Collins, have a seat.
I walked the president to his room at 2204.
When did you discover the body?
At 8:01, that's when I found him lying next to his bed.
Did you kill him?
No.
Is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
I only have one rule. Stay out of the basement. What do you got in the basement? I can't talk about it quite yet.
There's something down there that will destroy the world.
We're talking about a monster, a real monster.
You are in danger. Kids are disappearing.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home. But a crew of murderous bounty hunters is coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
There's a new trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage. It's like everybody's chasing this one look. I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift After Fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
I'm Aaron Katursky at the Trump Building on Wall Street. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Quieras o no, represento a una minoría marginalizada de la población que necesita referentes, igual que los han necesitado otras personas en otros momentos en la cinematografía. Y para mí es un orgullo.
That was an excerpt of our interview with Carla Sofia Gascon, who is one of the record breakers in this year's Oscar nominations. The 97th Annual Academy Award nominees were announced today after being delayed twice due to the fires in Los Angeles. We take a look at all the ways this year's picks are unique by the numbers. The musical about the life of a Mexican cartel leader, Emilia Perez, set a record this year with its 13 nominations, the most for a non-English language film ever. The film's lead, Carla Sofia Gascon, is a first-time nominee and the first openly trans woman to be nominated for an Academy Award. There are 13 people who are first-time nominees for that golden statuette, among them Ariana Grande, Demi Moore, and Zoe Saldana. And speaking of Ariana Grande, Wicked got 10 nominations. Cynthia Erivo is nominated for Best Actress in a leading role for playing Elphaba. Brady Corbett's The Brutalist also racked up 10 nominations. Adrian Brody is nominated for Best Actor for the film, which follows the story of a visionary architect who escapes post-war Europe for America. And Coralie Farge's nomination for The Substance marks the 10th directing nomination for a woman. And let's take a deeper dive into all things Oscar now with ABC News contributor and pop culture expert, Mr. Mike Muse, who joins us now in studio. Mike, good to see you.
Those are some great data points.
Oh, yeah, all you needed to know.
I mean,
right there.
That's a wrap.
60 seconds.
We can go home now.
You're an
expert. I mean, that's the Oscar, folks.
Well, okay, let's start with who were you surprised? What were the snubs? Who didn't make the list that you thought, this is raising an eyebrow?
Oh, great question. I had 3 snubs. One is Denzel Washington. I thought Denzel Washington delivered a fantastic performance in Gladiator 2. I think it's because Gladiator 2 got mixed reviews, and I don't think they really gave weight to his performance with that. The next is Sing Sing. I was very disappointed that the Oscars didn't represent such a fantastic ensemble cast. Lindsay, as you know, the only one that was a thespian was Coleman Domingo. The other cast members were former inmates of Sing Sing who were part of the theatrical troupe. So by essence, they are trained actors. But that's what makes that film so unique and so beautiful. And the next was Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig, I was very shocked by that because the Oscars, they love a transformative performance. And as we know, Daniel Craig, as James Bond, he entered this film as a same-sex loving man who falls in love in Mexico. So to see that turn from what we know Daniel Craig to do, I thought that would have got nominated, but didn't make the cut.
All right, now let's flip. What stands out to you on the list of people who did make the cut?
Demi Moore. 2 words. I mean, this is her season. This is her Oscars.
It's hers to lose.
It's hers to lose. You mentioned her in the By the Number segment that you just did, but what stands out to me was her Golden Globes acceptance speech.
Sure.
She said that she didn't feel enough. And I think, Lindsay, we can all relate to that. I'll raise my hand.
Sure.
We often don't feel enough in our job sometimes. Sometimes we feel inadequate going through life. I think everyone can relate to that. I feel very often to this day. And I think what happened was the Academy said, no, we're going going to honor you,
Yeah.
right? You are enough. And what that means is that it defies this notion that we see in Hollywood where women age out. Demi was like, no, women can age back in. And I think that is a very powerful statement that was sent today.
Talking about the substance.
The substance.
For that.
It's a fantastic film. I don't think it's going to get Best Picture, but it is deserving to be nominated for Best Picture.
Best Original Song. That's going to be a competitive category. You got Elton John, Diane Warren, once again. Any picks for you for that?
Linsey, I don't know if you had a Sweet 16, but this is Diane Warren's Sweet 16 moment. 16 nominations. And what she said was that this is one of her most impactful songs that she's proud of with the Oscars.
Right.
And the reason why she said is because of where that song was placed at. And it's placed in the it's placed in the ending credits of the song 688.
Right.
And it really talks and honors the women and the true stories of them. And you see the real pictures of those women, which is very powerful. And then Elton John. I mean, think about all the health challenges that he's experiencing right now. And so I'm wondering, how will the Academy look at it? First of all, both deserving. He's very clear.
Mike Muse, our resident pop culture star. We so appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Linsey. By the numbers.
More you on this
More
show.
you by the numbers.
All right, thanks, Mike. And there are so many more performances to highlight on March 2nd when the 97th Academy Awards air live at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC Plus, digital platforms, Disney Plus, and Hulu. And still much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Coming up, companionship when you want it and alone time when you don't. Some married couples swear by living apart to stay together, but next, the Super Bowl is just a couple of weeks away in New Orleans, and if you're just watching for the halftime show, you're going to want to see which musical guest just got added to the lineup. Stay with us.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia. We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal, outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
Freeze Morgan Guillory Major Crimes.
Where did you get this?
Check out at the dollar store. You hired me because I notice things that you miss.
Let's solve this case.
Bingo. Our killer's name is Dubois.
Did you just Google who's the killer on your phone, Morgan?
No, I did not do that.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're gonna make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Friday night, the 2020 true crime.
Sex, money, and murder, it has it all.
They were living the high life, but it was all about to come crashing down.
It was a house of cards that was crumbling fast.
Everybody thought car bombing has to be a mob hit.
Now, Friday night.
We're going to reenact the bombing to see how it could have been done.
2, 1.
Inside a murder mystery as it unravels. 2020, all new Friday night on ABC.
Your inner circle's been compromised. Either you can't see that or you don't want to.
Who you think they talk about?
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
Who you think they talk about? Talk about us.
Stand by for proof of death.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America, Brave New World. Get tickets now.
A new study finds ADHD is tied to a shorter life expectancy. A popular face moisturizer pulled off the shelves, and the special guest joining Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl halftime show. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
The Sackler family and their company, Purdue Pharma, have agreed to pay $7.4 billion to settle lawsuits involving its painkiller OxyContin. That's $1 billion more than an earlier deal. In addition, the Sacklers gave up their demand of immunity from future opioid lawsuits. 15 states, local governments, and individuals joined in this suit, claiming the family and their company fueled addiction and overdose deaths. A judge still has to approve the settlement. A new study from the United Kingdom finds that people diagnosed with ADHD have a shorter life expectancy. Published in the British Journal of Psychiatry, researchers found men with ADHD live 4 to 9 years less, while women's life expectancy is shortened by 6 to 11 years. The study also links ADHD to a higher risk of mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and self-harm. Researchers analyzed data from over 30,000 adults with ADHD, comparing them to nearly 300,000 people without the disorder. First Aid Beauty, a popular skincare brand, has issued a voluntary recall nationwide of more than 2,700 jars of its Ultra Repair Cream. According to the FDA, the 14-ounce jars of the coconut vanilla version were mistakenly distributed when they were meant for quarantine. The recall was classified as a Class 2 by the agency, indicating temporary health risks. The company says it sent an email directly to impacted consumers and sent a replacement. A Cathay Pacific passenger plane headed for Hong Kong was forced to make a U-turn Monday after the cabin filled up with smoke roughly 30 minutes after takeoff from Boston. The pilots radioed to air traffic control declaring Mayday as they dumped fuel before landing safely back in Boston. Nobody was injured. The airline says engineers are investigating. The FAA will also investigate. Kendrick Lamar has announced that Grammy-winning singer SZA will join him on stage for the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans on February 9th. The duo teased the performance in a trailer released by Apple Music, where SZA playfully splashes Lamar on a football field. SZA, Lamar's former label mate, recently collaborated with him on tracks from his album GNX. The Philadelphia Eagles were offering a unique piece of memorabilia for fans, authenticated snow collected from the end zone after their 28-22 playoff win over the LA Rams. In partnership with sports and entertainment memorabilia company The Realist, pints of snow were packaged in insulated containers with dry ice and sold for $50 on its website. The snow, preserved in its original state, sold out in just hours.
There is a growing trend for couples to live separately, and they say their relationship is all the better because of it. Eva Pilgrim has this story.
Actors Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor are doing it. So are Sheryl Lee Ralph and her husband, Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Even Gwyneth Paltrow and her producer husband, Brad Falchuk, did it for a year after tying the knot. All three couples in fully committed relationships, but living in separate homes intentionally. Sheryl Lee Ralph explaining to People.
He has his own life. I have my own life. We also live in separate places. When I go to see him, love to see him. When it's time to leave, bye-bye, see you soon. I'm telling you, life is good.
Living apart together, highly recommend.
Videos for living apart together getting millions of views on social media.
Some people think it's bizarre, but it works great for us.
Fans say it's the best of both worlds. Companionship when you want it, alone time when you don't.
People these days are looking for relationships that work for their lives. They want something that allows them to be who they are. Living apart together allows couples to maintain their autonomy and independence within the context of a long-term committed relationship.
And it's not just a Hollywood movement. The Census Bureau says that in 2023, nearly 4 million Americans were living apart from their spouses. Mandy and Cody Kreidel, both 41, live 360 miles apart. Married since 2021, they see each other once a week.
So I live in Anchorage, Alaska, and she lives in Fairbanks, and that's been our living arrangement for the entirety of our relationship.
Sometimes we'll go 2 weeks, but for the most part, we try really hard to see each other every weekend. Sometimes during the week, I'll just fly down for dinner and we'll go on a quick date and I'll hop on the plane to get back for work the next day.
Mandy says even if they lived in the same city, she'd still prefer to live apart.
Right now, we're thinking there's a good chance that we'll keep maintaining 2 separate houses and then just get together on a very regular basis. It's like, wow, this isn't what we expected, but it's pretty great.
Experts say living together separately isn't for everyone.
We have a sense of what it means to be married or even to live with somebody, but it's less clear what it means when you're living apart together. What does it mean to be in that kind of relationship?
Filmmaker Sharon Hyman says she understands living a 15-minute drive away from her husband, David.
We're about to celebrate our 26th anniversary of living happily ever apart.
Even founding a Facebook advocacy group for like-minded couples called A Partners.
It's a committed lifetime relationship. And just as any other relationship, we are there for each other in, sickness and health and rich and poor and all that stuff. But just we live in 2 different locations.
Another together but apart trend, the so-called sleep divorce, where couples choose to sleep in separate beds. The hashtag garnering millions of views and likes in TikTok posts. Even married movie star Cameron Diaz trying to destigmatize the issue of sleeping separately on the Lipstick on the Rim podcast.
You guys, by the way, we should normalize like separate bedrooms.
Thank you.
I think it's still a little taboo to talk about sleeping in separate rooms or in separate beds because we have this idea that if couples are not sharing a bedroom, that there must be something terribly wrong with their relationship.
30, 40, 50 years ago, people were worried about couples deciding to live together outside of marriage. And now what we're seeing is that many couples aren't even interested in living together. And it shows that as a society, we are way more accepting these days of couples defining relationships in ways that fit them best as individuals.
As for Sharon, she says living apart from her husband has only made their relationship and their lives better.
It gives you an opportunity to find what's meaningful for you in your life while at the same time be very committed to another person. And in my case, it's absolutely the best of both worlds.
Very interesting. Our thanks to Eva for that. We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a closer look at the story behind the sensation. With more than 800,000 followers, you probably know our next guest from her TikTok series, That Friend, where she plays a variety of characters, poking fun of every kind of friend that everyone can relate to. Sabrina Breyer, a comedian, actor, and now a writer, is expanding her talent of wit with her debut audiobook, That Friend, which comes out next week. Let's take a listen.
I can't say off the top of my head, but just, lots of stuff that, I took notes on it, kind of like notes on all the stuff I'm doing.
Sabrina Breyer joins us now in studio. Welcome to the show, Sabrina.
Thank you for having me.
We are glad to have you. So tell us how you decided you're going to go from these TikTok shorts to a 4-hour audiobook.
Yeah, going into long form was always a goal. I'm really passionate about television. I have sort of an assistant background in that space. I always envisioned this character being something we watch more than 30 seconds to over a minute. And when this opportunity sort of knocked at my door via my editor reaching out to me, I knew immediately that it was something I was going to be interested in, and it was going to be kind of the perfect way to expand on the character.
So tell us a little bit more about this character as far as people, when they listen to the audiobook, what they can expect.
Yes, you can definitely expect that she's self-involved. You can expect that maybe at first you're like, what's up with this girl? And you certainly, over the course of the audiobook, start to listen into the small moments of revealing so much more about her, that she really has a vulnerability within her that comes out more and more through this process, which is this story that takes place over the course of a summer where she's aspiring to become a New York City influencer. Mm-hmm. And it does take off a bit for her, but at the same time, her real life falls apart. So I think a lot of ups and downs, certainly moments where we're a bit annoyed with her just as much as her friends are with her. But she has, I promise, many redeeming qualities, and by the end, we really are rooting for her.
So how much of her story is really your story?
It's definitely very mixed. There's a lot of nonfiction mixed into this very fictional story. She is someone who lives in New York, a young person with dreams. I certainly relate to that. I hope a lot of listeners will too. I certainly hustled in a lot of the ways that she is hustling, becoming an influencer myself, building a platform myself. I obviously was able to really draw on those real life experiences. But ultimately, even though we share a name, it's a fictional character in a fictional world.
So people who are familiar with your material, they may remember you first went viral in 2021 with How to Annoy New Yorkers. How did you ultimately land on that friend?
So at first, I really leaned into this privileged, broad, out-of-touch transplant character, the kind of girl who moves to New York and you kind of wish she hadn't. And then after a while, I sort of got my feet wet a bit more, and I was able to veer more into material that I think feels more true to me.
I know that you've already guest starred on Abbott Elementary. Should we expect to see you in a little more TV appearances?
I hope so. That's definitely a big goal of mine, is to continue acting both as the character and, of course, outside of that, growing as an actress in other roles, in other people's fictional worlds other than my own.
Bright future ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, Sabrina. You can check out Sabrina on TikTok at sabrina.cinnamon.briar. You can also listen to That Friend when the audiobook is released on all major platforms next Tuesday, January 28th. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, a judge steps in to block President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Plus, ahead of opening statements in rapper A$AP Rocky's trial, we talk about the evidence and how the defendant's romantic relationship with superstar Rihanna could have an impact.
For the record, your name is Xavier Collins.
Yes.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw Cal Bradford alive?
Agent Collins, have a seat.
I walked the president to his room at 2204.
When did you discover the body?
At 8:01, that's when I found him lying next to his bed.
Did you kill him?
No.
Is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
Is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're going to make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home.
Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekend.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops. Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Tonight, President Trump is once again picking up his pen, signing 5 more executive orders declassifying the files related to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., promoting cryptocurrency, establishing an advisory council on science and technology, removing barriers to leadership in artificial intelligence, and recognizing the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. Meanwhile, a federal judge dealt the first blow to President Trump's immigration crackdown. The judge in Seattle temporarily blocked the president's order ending birthright citizenship, calling it, quote, blatantly unconstitutional. Trump signed the order hours after being sworn in, and he's now vowing to appeal. This comes amid the confirmation battle over his controversial pick to run the Defense Department, former Fox host Pete Hegseth. Some key Republicans are speaking out tonight about his confirmation vote. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, with a look at today's ruling on birthright citizenship.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship.
Tonight, a federal judge temporarily blocking President Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Trump signing the order just hours after he was sworn in.
Birthright. That's a big one.
Birthright citizenship is protected by the 14th Amendment. Now 22 states and 2 cities filing suit to block Trump's order from going into effect. Today, Seattle Judge John Kuhnauer saying it boggles my mind that any lawyer would consider the order constitutional.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
That judge appointed by President Ronald Reagan. While over at the Capitol, stinging words from 2 Republican senators for Trump's controversial Pentagon pick, former Fox News host and veteran Pete Hegseth. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine announcing they will vote against his confirmation, citing concerns about his management experience and the message he sends to women. Murkowski writing, I believe that character is the defining trait required of the Secretary of Defense and must be prioritized without compromise, pointing to the allegations against Hegseth of excessive drinking and sexual misconduct. Tonight, sources tell ABC News Hegseth told another senator, Democrat Elizabeth Warren, that he paid the woman who accused him of sexual assault in 2017 a $50,000 settlement. He has denied the assault allegations, claiming it was consensual. Tonight, Senator Murkowski saying while the allegations of sexual assault and excessive drinking do nothing to quiet my concerns, the past behaviors Mr. Hegseth has admitted to, including infidelity on multiple occasions, demonstrate a lack of judgment that is unbecoming of someone who would lead our armed forces. Senator Collins citing another matter, Hegseth's statement last year that women should not serve in combat roles.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles.
But at his confirmation hearing, he said this.
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high.
Collins tonight saying, I am not convinced that his position on women serving in combat roles has changed. Despite the pushback, Hegseth is still expected to be confirmed when the Senate votes tomorrow.
Are you worried about his confirmation and your reaction?
No, and no surprises there. It's too bad. You know, it's the way it is. Too bad.
The president tonight also signing an executive order to declassify the files related to 3 assassinations that gripped the nation. The murder of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, the fatal shooting of his brother, Senator Robert Kennedy, in Los Angeles just a few years later, and the killing of Dr. Martin Luther King at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. Trump declaring their families and the American people deserve transparency and truth. Robert Kennedy Jr., Trump's nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services, has long called for the release of the government files into his father and his uncle's assassinations.
And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
The Director of National Intelligence will now have a few weeks to prepare a plan for the release of the records.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. The critical fire danger rages on in Southern California with 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts fueling multiple fires. Flames broke out along the 405 freeway near the Getty Center Museum in the Bel Air neighborhood. Meanwhile, the Hughes fire is burning north of Los Angeles, creeping ever closer to the Eaton fire. We'll have the forecast as winds are set to die down, but we lead off with our national chief correspondent, Matt Gutman in California.
Tonight, Southern California is again a powder keg, howling Santa Ana winds and bone-dry conditions, fueling fires big and small.
You can see they're making retardant drops already.
West of L.A. and Ventura County, dirt, flying smoke, blasting firefighters working furiously, stopping forward progress of the Laguna fire, but not before a Cal State campus was forced to evacuate. And overnight, the Sepulveda fire breaking out along the 405 freeway near the Getty Center Museum, burning 40 acres before firefighters got a handle on it.
They managed to knock this down very, very quickly. It is not windy right now.
Meanwhile, just north of Los Angeles, firefighters still battling the now 15-square-mile Hughes fire. An all-out aerial assault through the night, precision drops saving the town of Castaic.
I mean, you can see the air asset right now, that helicopter dropping. Fire so close to the ground right behind you. I mean, it was barely 30 feet off the deck just now.
We have some of the best pilots in the world out here in LA County, LA City.
Thankfully, no homes were lost, but for families forced to flee, nerves are frayed tonight.
Sad when we were leaving, especially seeing what happened with Palisades and all that.
Lee Goldberg from our New York partner station WABC is tracking all those winds. And also, Lee, we got to ask, any relief from this brutal cold anytime soon?
I hope so, because my eyes are watering and the glasses are fogging up. So yes, the cold is definitely easing. Let's start with the fire forecast out west. There's some encouraging news over the weekend, but at least in the short term, we still have some gusty winds and low humidity, so the red flag warning will go into the day on Friday. But what a good pattern change coming up later Friday as winds turn onshore. Now we have low pressure over Southern California, so an area of rain, mountain snows, higher humidity. It could actually linger into a part of Monday. The only concern will be any isolated downpours that could cause some flash flooding over the burn scars. Now, to the east, sound the retreat. The Arctic area is definitely easing. There are still cold weather alerts, Louisiana, Florida, into the Carolinas. Those will go through tomorrow morning, wind chills in the teens and 20s, and then you go all the way up to the north, and there are sub-zero wind chills in the Midwest. But that starts to ease over the weekend. I mean, temperatures really take off. After getting snow in Houston, we're in the 60s over the weekend. Atlanta gets into the 50s, and 40s here in the Northeast will go a long way to curing some of that cabin fever. And as we go into February, the pattern actually looks above normal as well. Lindsay?
All right. We can hopefully hold out until then. Lee Goldberg, our thanks to you. Now to an ABC News exclusive. A Massachusetts man breached Capitol security and took a full tour of the Capitol, all while carrying a gun. Authorities say he had set off a magnetometer, but an officer who patted him down didn't find the gun. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
Capitol Police tonight acknowledging a stunning security failure that occurred just a day after President Trump was sworn in. A failure department officials say can never happen again. ABC News first learning that a 27-year-old Massachusetts man, who authorities had been searching for out of concerns he was having suicidal thoughts, allegedly made his way through security at the Capitol and took a full tour, all while armed with a 9mm handgun.
We are in the middle of a highly dangerous threat environment. Law enforcement across the country, including the Capitol Police, need to take every threat seriously. and their officers need to remain extra vigilant.
According to Capitol Police, the breach occurred sometime between 1 and 2 p.m. Tuesday afternoon, amid confirmation hearings with senators, House members, and the public, all unaware that they were in a potentially dangerous situation. Authorities say the man set off magnetometers at the Capitol Visitor Center and was then subjected to additional screening by a Capitol Police officer who failed to find the firearm, which was discovered as the man left the Library of Congress following his tour. That officer has been suspended pending a full review of the incident. We're told that Capitol Police officers will now undergo mandatory refresher training on security screenings.
Pierre Thomas reporting. Tonight, new details in the deadly high school shooting in Nashville. Investigators say the school's gun detection system, which was supposed to scan for guns and weapons, failed to alert school officials before the shooting. Police say 17-year-old Solomon Henderson fired 10 shots within seconds of entering the cafeteria. One student was killed, another was wounded. The shooter then took his own life. We've also learned from police the shooter posted on social media from inside a school bathroom before opening fire. Authorities say evidence shows Henderson was significantly influenced by online material. A jury has been sworn in Los Angeles in rapper A$AP Rocky's trial. The Grammy-nominated rapper, who's partner to pop star Rihanna, is charged with opening fire on a former friend in Hollywood back in 2021. If convicted, he could face a decades-long prison sentence. The 36-year-old has pleaded not guilty. Let's bring in Arthur Aidala to talk more about this case. Arthur, good to be with you. The jury has been chosen 7 men, 5 women. What are attorneys on both sides looking for when choosing a jury?
Well, what's very interesting in this particular case, Joe Tacopina, a friend and colleague, he complained that there were not enough people of color in the jury pool. I believe the numbers were in that particular area of California, the citizens are made up of, I think, 9 or 10% people of color, and only 5% showed up for jury duty. He wanted to actually have a hearing to say, look, you know, we want people who are representative of my client. That was turned down. So, you know, Linsey, it's interesting. We actually say to jurors, you know, we just want fair and impartial jurors. It's not really true. You kind of want a juror who relates to you and relates to your client and is going to kind of lean in your favor or, you know, ultimately vote for the verdict that you want.
Earlier this week, as you know, A$AP Rocky turned down a plea deal that would have given him 6 months in jail and 3 years of probation. Do you think that speaks highly of the case that the defense has?
You know, that's when you're facing 24 years in prison, which is the case here. Now, I don't think he would ever get sentenced to something like that under these facts. But to turn down a guarantee, Linsey, no one ever knows the outcome of a trial. Nobody. Right? You don't even know who the jury is now. And now that you have 12 strangers that you're putting your fate in their hands, would say, okay, I'm guaranteed, you know, I'm A$AP Rocky. I have movies coming out with Spike Lee. I have so much bright future ahead of me. I'll disappear for probably 4 months, 120 days is what he'd actually serve, and then I'd be back out as a guarantee. It's not an easy thing to pass up, but he did, and he must have confidence in his lawyer, Joe Tacopina.
A$AP Rocky's attorneys plan to have witnesses testify a firearm that he's seen holding on security video is a starter pistol that he carries as a prop for security. How do you think that that'll go over with the jury?
Well, you know, they'll get to hold it. They'll get to feel it. It may be a battle of the experts. In other words, yes, the defense is going to call an expert, but typically the prosecution calls an expert as well. My guess is they may say, well, you know, he's saying it's a starter pistol, but the reason why we don't believe it is a starter pistol is because, and they'll get into the minutia of all of that. And anytime you get a battle of the experts, that really does come down to personalities and who, having spoken to jurors in the past, who they liked better as the expert and who they believed more. So, you know, that it's a real defense. Let's see if it holds up.
The judge is allowing cameras inside the courtroom. Of course, A$AP Rocky is connected romantically to one of the biggest stars in the world, Rihanna. Do you think that the court of public opinion will have any impact on the rapper's case?
Well, the judge asked if Rihanna was going to show up. He said, of course, she's allowed here. I just kind of want a heads up because she's such a superstar. There'd have to be more court personnel and more security. And I believe Mr. Tacopina said Rocky is very protective of her and he doesn't want her coming anywhere near these proceedings. Jurors will be told not to follow anything regarding this case outside of what takes place in the courtroom. Hopefully, they will abide by those warnings from the judge, and the court of public opinion won't bleed into the actual verdict.
All right, Arthur Aidala, always great to have your insight. Thanks so much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you, Lindsay.
So much more to get to coming up. Chances are he's on your Spotify playlist. British singer Miles Smith joins us to talk about his chart-topping single that even made Barack Obama's summer playlist, his advice for aspiring artists. But next, sentencing day for a teen who admitted to setting off shock and terror at Taylor Swift's themed children's event.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza. Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines,
the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal, outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there. You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
For the record, your name is Xavier Collins.
Yes.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw Cal Bradford alive?
Agent Collins, have a seat.
I walked the president to his room at 2204.
When did you discover the body?
At 8:01, that's when I found him lying next to his bed.
Did you kill him?
No.
Is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
Friday night, the 2020 true crime.
Sex, money, and murder, it has it all.
They were living the high life, but it was all about to come crashing down.
It was a house of cards that was crumbling fast.
Everybody thought car bombing has to be a mob hit.
Now, Friday night.
We're going to reenact the bombing to see how it could have been done.
2, 1.
Inside a murder mystery as it unravels. 2020, all new Friday night on ABC.
Reporting on abortion rights from the Arizona State Capitol, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. A British teenager who murdered 3 young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed dance event in July was sentenced to at least 52 years in prison. 18-year-old Axel Rudakambona admitted to killing the girls, who ranged in age from 6 to 9 years old. Rudakambona also pleaded guilty to attempted murder, as well as to producing the deadly poison ricin and possessing an al-Qaeda training manual. Some Lebanese people who fled their homes in southern Lebanon during the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah are returning to border villages, with many vowing to rebuild their destroyed homes. It comes as Israel requests an extension to keep soldiers at Lebanon's southern border beyond a Sunday deadline set by a ceasefire agreement, saying Lebanon's army is not fully in position. Hundreds of LGBTQ+ couples in Thailand walked down the aisle as a law took effect granting them the same rights as heterosexual couples. A day-long gala celebration was held for about 300 couples who tied the knot. Thailand is the first country in Southeast Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. Our next guest started off the year earning the massive achievement of Brit's Rising Star Award with more than 1 billion streams across his catalog and more than 21 million monthly listeners on Spotify alone. Miles Smith has quickly become one of the most exciting new voices in music. His chart-topping single Stargazing landed on Barack Obama's summer playlist and broke into the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. Let's take a listen. talented Miles Smith joins us now in studio to discuss his EP titled A Minute and his journey showing the world his unique blend of passion, storytelling, and artistry. Welcome to the show, Miles.
Hello, hello.
Hey, so nice to have you here. I'm just curious, when you initially were doing covers on social media, did you ever anticipate you'd be signed to a major studio, that you'd actually now have a career in music?
I mean, it's still wild to think about. I mean, it's been such a long journey, you know, for me. I started sort of playing when I was like 9, 10 years old and sort of like went on to play in empty pubs and clubs. And then I fell in love with school and I went to school. I then ran my own business for a few years. And then sort of when I got to a point where I was like, I ran a really successful business, I was like, there was still a part of me that wasn't fulfilled. But to have such a tool at my disposal to help me reach global audiences has been incredible.
And congratulations is in order too, because
Thank
Nice
you.
to Meet You is actually your second top 10 UK single in a year. Not easy to do, but you make it seem easy. What is it about your creative process that you think helps to not only garner so much success, but also really resonate with listeners?
I think it's just about coming from a place of authenticity and trying not to sort of overcomplicate or hide behind the ego. And I think that just as humans, that's what connects with us most, and I think that's why it's resonating.
Do you think as you get more attention and commercial success, does that pull you away from your values, or there's a core there that you remain unmoved?
I am a mother's son, so I don't think I could ever be moved away from the person that I am. And, you know, I think that pop music and what's popular is always just what people lean towards and what people consume the most. And so, you know, hopefully the music that I make continues to be, but I don't think I'll ever work from a point of serving other people before serving what's true. And I think that's just super important to true artistry and the artists that I fell in love with over the years.
2025 already seems like it's shaping up to be a really busy year for you. You're going to have your We Were Never Strangers tour in North America. You're also going to be touring in Europe with Ed Sheeran. What are you most looking forward to about the year?
I think for me, it's like being able to travel the world and connect with fans of my music in all different places and spaces. And I think that as an artist, to have the privilege to be able to go to a country that I've never been to before, or a town or a city that I've never been to before, and to have sort of thousands of people waiting to hear me play live is just such a blessing that I'll never take for granted, that I'm excited to see and explore.
What advice would you give to aspiring young artists?
I think for me it would be, don't rush the process. You know, I'm 26 now. I started when I was 10 years old, and only within the last 2 years, all of sort of my hopes, dreams, and aspirations have come to fruition. But it took, you know, working in a retail store and going to college and studying for 4 years and having a business to then realize, like, okay, this is my path and this is what I'm supposed to do. And I think that all of those life lessons have shaped me and helped me become the artist that I am, because it's through working in a grocery store that you learn how to interact with people. It's through going to college that you truly learn what hard work and dedication is to reach your goals and targets. So I think that it's not rushing it, and to learn that every part and every facet of your life has value in shaping who you are and shaping your music.
All right, well, Miles, we're so glad you found your way, and we will stick with you on the journey. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. You can stream his EP A Minute wherever you stream your music. If you want to catch him live, you better act fast. Tickets for this year's We Were Never Strangers tour are nearly sold out. And still to come, how Bills fans are coming through in a big way to show some love for the Baltimore Ravens player who botched a crucial pass in the playoff game that led to Buffalo's big win.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're going to make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
There's a new trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage. It's like everybody's chasing this one look. I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift after fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
A drop pass made by a Baltimore Ravens player during Sunday's football game against Buffalo may have helped the Bills take the win. And now fans have started a donation blitz, but it's in honor of a player from the other team. Derek Hyde from our partner station in Buffalo, WKBW, has more.
So he received a lot of hate comments or distasteful stuff online.
Really disgraceful with stuff that was said online.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Howard.
My name is Ryan Patona.
And I started the GoFundMe page for Mark Andrews.
We just want to do something really good for him.
An idea started in a Canisius University dorm room has snowballed across the country.
Our original goal was only $5,000, and we've crushed it now. It's above $70,000.
Two friends, Nicholas Howard and Ryan Patota, inspired Bills Mafia to raise tens of thousands of dollars for type 1 diabetes research, all in support of Baltimore Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, a type 1 diabetic himself.
You guys are Bills fans, right? You're not Ravens fans.
Nope.
You know, why are we doing this for Mark Andrews?
Because it's what Bills Mafia does.
It's what this fan base is really about.
Andrews had a fumble and then dropped that pass on a 2-point conversion with 1:33 left in the game that would have tied the AFC divisional round showdown against the Bills.
We are making a fundraiser for Mark Andrews and juveniles with diabetes.
In Andrews' lowest moment, Nicholas and Ryan sprung into action, starting a GoFundMe for Andrews' charity, Breakthrough T1D, and posting it on their fan account, The Buffalo Brief. From there, the news spread fast.
That Bills Mafia coming through. Love to see it. Yes, they do.
$75,000 and counting can go a long ways to creating a greater impact for those living with type 1.
More than 2,700 people have donated $78,000, and those totals continue to climb.
Go Bills, and thank you everybody out there.
Serious sportsmanship. That's what it's all about. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City, getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take